2021 Global Korea Convention will now begin the second day and fifth session of best practices. We will have the presentations under the theme of best practices of multilateral cooperation for climate technology. Before we begin, the session will be led by Shin Jong-seok, the researcher from Green Technology Center. Nice to meet you. My name is Shin Jong-seok. I'm the senior researcher at Green Technology Center. As you heard, we will talk about the best practices of multilateral cooperation for climate technology. As many of you know, under the UN Climate Change Agreement, the development and transfer and facilitation of green technology were required as operating arm. The CTCN was established, and the GCF was also established. In line with the CTCN, the Green Technology Center focuses on the cooperation program between Korea and CTCN to expand the various climate projects, and this session will present the various successful cases as a result of that. The first case will be presented by senior researcher Son Ji-hee of Green Technology Center. She will talk about the case of a Korea CTCN cooperation program for expanding global climate technology dissemination. Nice to meet you. I am senior researcher Son Ji-hee from Green Technology Center. Today I'm going to talk about a case of a Korea CTCN cooperation program for expanding global climate technology dissemination. Let me begin my presentation. And the table of contents are as you see. Firstly, I'll explain about overview and the trend of CTCN. I'll explain about CTCN pro bono program, Korea CTCN pro bono program, and lastly, I'll talk about the domestic CTCN member institutions. First, CTCN overview. CTCN is a climate technology center and network. So this was established in 2016 with the Paris Agreement announcement. So the developing countries now has obligation to reduce carbon emissions, but because developing countries lack technology for climate challenges, so the technological and financial support for developing countries is essential. So at the CTCN, to support this, it is performing a role as a technology mechanism. In particular, through the national designated entity of a technology mechanism, this role is being provided. In Korea, the Ministry of Science and ICT is performing a role of NDE, National Designated Entity, performing a role of a window for the national climate technology. On the right-hand side of the slide, you can see the financial support and on all the operating institutions that are providing financial support. GCF and JEF is providing this role. GCF, just like the technology mechanism of CTCN, it is designating national institutions, and the Ministry of Economy and Finance is in charge of this role. CTCA Secretariat is located in UN campus in Copenhagen of Denmark, and it consists of 20 people. As you can see in the picture underneath, you can see the Secretariat and its composition. UNIDO and the UNEP are jointly hosting the board meeting. Along with the Secretary of CTCN, it has a network institution. So network institutions, currently we have about 84 network members in Korea. There are about 600 institutions around the world, and Korea has the largest number of network institutions in the world. CTCN, when it comes to technology cooperation for climate change agreement, CTCN is an excellent platform. Technical assistance is actually based on the demand discovered based on the different priorities of developing countries. It reduces budget of domestic agencies for demand discovery and supports domestic companies and agencies to expand into overseas. Also, through the financial connection, scale-up can be made. So this would be the strength of CTCN. If you see as you can see from the graph, the picture and below, you can see that TEC, the tech, which is in charge of the technological execution, and CTC, the Climate Technology Center, is also part of CTCN. As I've explained, the network members are across the globe. The NDE is in charge of stating or identifying what kind of technology is required for the country. And so it has to submit official requests to the CTCN, and the Secretary of CTCN would review the request and form a technical experts group to respond to the request. Once the response plan is established, international bidding or various framework are utilized to ask various members across the world to provide different types of support or assistance to the developing country. I actually skipped one slide, but I think it's right to explain about this. This is a major timeline of CTCN. Initially, in 2010, at COP16, technology mechanism was established. So here, TEC and CTCN were established. In 2012, at COP18, UNEP was selected as the major hosting agency of CTCN. 2015, the Paris Agreement went into effect at COP21, and the Ministry of Science and ICT was designated as Korean NDE. And to expand its role as NDE, a domestic CTCN Council was formed, and the first meeting of the Council was convened in 2016 at COP22. US and other advanced countries and Korea made a joint declaration for financial contribution for CTCN. In 2017, the CTCN pro bono procedure was newly created, and we also dispatched domestic experts in climate technology cooperation to CTCN. In 2018, CTCN Asia Pacific Regional Forum was jointly convened, and we have made a plan and implementation for the Korea Pro Bono TA projects. And we also signed an MOU with the UNEP, with the Ministry of Science and ICT. In 2019, the first Korea Pro Bono Council was convened, and CTCN Corporation and Liaison Office was established in Songdo in Incheon. Entering 2020, we've started to implement various procedures for pro bono, and reverse proposal was newly created as a procedure for pro bono project. At the end of 2020, Korea NDE and CTCN have established regular procedures for pro bono projects. CTCN trend would be the next topic that I'd like to talk about. At the UN climate agreement, there was a new guideline, and it is continuously being provided about the cooperation with the financial mechanism. So in CTCN, there is AF and GCF and GEF. So through various programs, technical assistance can be provided, and it's being expanded through various financial support. And these cooperative projects and activities are to be reinforced in the future. In 2015, the Ministry of Science and ICT was designated as NDE with the pro bono projects, and I mentioned that there are 48 domestic companies that are members of CTCM. The liaison office is to be open next year. And this partnership office was the first such office in Korea, so we've made a great progress, especially when it comes to pro bono support and assistance. CNCT Secretariat asked us to share our cases and provide information to encourage other countries to do the same. So we are drawing a lot of attention from international community. Next is the CTCN Pro Bono program. Pro Bono TA, to explain briefly, as I mentioned, is based on the technical assistance requested by CTCN Secretariat through the developing countries. So the NDE or CTC member institutions of each country would establish their own budgets and select the operating institution to provide technical assistance. So you can compare the general technical assistance with pro bono technical assistance. So for general technical assistance, it is based on the CTCN budget, whereas pro bono technical assistance is based on the donor country's budget or the budget of the institution itself. And so this budget is used to provide support to developing countries. Overseas pro bono program cases, first in 2017 in Japan and Germany, they provided a pro bono program. In 2018, Europe Hydrogen Association provided a pro bono program, and the Japan's NEDO provided a pro bono project or assistance. There are several other cases afterwards as well. Korean CTCN pro bono programs, for the past few years, we've been trying to solidify the procedures and the systems. As you can see here, we have now the system completed. The Ministry of Science and ICT, the ministry performs as official communication window with the Secretariat of CTCM, and the Green Technology Center supports that and hosts as the administrative secretary. The domestic CTCN members participate through their budget, and if they have technology, they provide the technology so as they participate in the process as a technology provider. CTCN Secretariat discuss with the developing countries and also manages the program, the pro bono programs as a whole. You can see the programs by type. There are general pro bono and the reverse proposal pro bono. So reverse request pro bono is a supplier-focused pro bono project. Before, developing countries would provide or request for the assistance, and we would source those particular technologies from companies. The reversed pro bono or reversed request would be based on the technologies that domestic companies have, and we would make a proposal to developing countries, and developing countries would accept that project. there are TA and non-TA when it comes to technical assistance. TA is a general technical assistance project, whereas non-TA is about networking, technology matchmaking, capacity building, and as a clinic. So in addition to technical assistance, we are engaged in various different pro bono activities.
한국 CTCN 프로보노 프로그램 추진 현황입니다.
So this is the current status of Korea's pro bono project based on January of 2021. We have provided 14 projects so far, and 9 has been completed, and 5 TA and non-TA are currently in progress.
국내 CTCN 회원 기관입니다.
Domestic CTCN members, as of now, a total of 84 companies are registered as CTCN members, which is the largest number among the countries that are members of CTCN. This graph is based on November of last year. The basic shape is not that different from now. Korea has the largest number, followed by United States, which is about half of the size, followed by Germany, Spain, the UK, etc.
그리고 CTCN 이제 회원기관 협의회가
CTCA Member Institution Council is being held about twice a year. We share the current status and we introduce the policy of the Ministry of Science and ICT, and we share our experiences of the pro bono project and also other effective measures that we've implemented. So through information sharing, we share our knowledge.
CTCN
Pro Bono Support Project Council have been convened 4 times so far. So we have a general discussion on pro bono projects, and we also collect the demand from the domestic companies. We make a discussion on general pro bono project. So that would be the presentation on CTCN pro bono projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you for introducing an overview of CTCN as well as the pro bono project. Our next presenter is Kim Kwan-young, Director of Green Technology Partnership Initiative under Green Technology Center. And he will be presenting on innovation-based RD&D partnership platform development, bilateral and multilateral cooperation of Green Technology Partner Initiative, or GTPI. Hello, I'm Kim Kwan-young, Director of Green Technology Partnership Initiative, or GTPI, under the Green Technology Center. Today, I would like to present to you about the Indonesia GTPI's work in bilateral cooperation with Indonesia, multilateral cooperation with ASEAN partner countries, as well as the establishment of partnership-based innovation technology project platform. Indonesia GTPI was established in 2019. Green Technology Center is the host institution, and we work with the Korea Institute of Energy Research, Anyang University, Indonesia BPPT, and Lampung University. So the focus of our work is Sumatra and Java Island, and also we're working with the local governments of Kalimantan and Sulawesi. And we work with the different cities and municipalities in Indonesia. Especially Medan, Batubara, Pekanbaru are some of the other areas that we're working with. Reducing greenhouse gases and addressing hygiene issues and also increasing power supply rate are some of the work and projects that we're carrying out in order to advance waste management system of Indonesia. Until 2015, we hope to have 23% renewable energy as power mix. And 2025 is nearing us, and soon we will be assessing our efforts. And also, we are promoting waste management system in Indonesia. However, there are certain shortfalls in Indonesians' own efforts, so we provide technological support and project development as well as partnership-based programs in order to increase their capacity and share information. And that is what Indonesia GTPI is doing.
도시고용 폐기물을 에너지화하겠다는
Regarding turning municipal solid waste to energy,
팜
Indonesia has a lot of palm trees and coconut trees and cassava as some of the sources for biomass. Using this biomass, we are converting the biomass to energy. And despite the biomass to energy project,
산업개발로
they have indiscriminate development of projects which have led to environmental
도시고용
problems.
폐기물과 바이오매스
Municipal solid waste to energy and biomass to energy. These are the two approaches that Indonesia is taking, and we, Indonesia GTPI, is offering technological cooperation on this front.
바이오매스 에너지뿐만 아니라
Not just municipal solid waste and biomass, but also they have making energy 2.0, making Indonesia 4.0 as its national strategy, and is developing ICT-based industrial technologies to improve its systems, do research and development, and also make financial investment. Also, in terms of climate smart agriculture, it is applying ICT technology, and also it is developing river and stream water pollution monitoring and evaluation system using an online system, and that would be another way to incorporate ICT technology for climate or environment technology.
실행 계획으로 만들어져서 민간의
Indonesia's policies are turned into projects in order to attract private investment, and that will lead to demonstration of the technology on the site, and that will eventually lead to the launch of the products or services on the market to really scale up the project. And in that process, we have what's called the Death Valley. In order to address the Death Valley and prevent the Death Valley, Indonesia GTPI is applying a paradigm of what's called RD&D partnership, which is based on innovation. In order to bridge the valley of death, we need to share the values and risks through RD&D based partnership. We need to bring together not just financial resources, but also network resources and physical resources, R&D facility resources, as well as technical resources. And also we need to share human resources. Furthermore, we need to be able to assess controllable risks and uncontrollable risks that can arise in the course of the investment. And to do so, we need to share the resources and reduce the risks in order to successfully carry out private-public partnership, which is basically what we call innovation-based RD&D partnership. And that's an area where we're working together with Indonesia. Partnership-based innovation technology platform is an approach that we're taking together with our partner institutes to provide technical assistance and also RD&D technology demonstration on the site, and also data sharing and also capacity building. Of these four directions, what's the most important for us is RD&D information. So what's the most important for us is technical assistance. On the site of Indonesia, we see a lot of needs arising on the site. We need to have customized R&D planning, which is followed by the on-site demonstration. This is what we call RD&D partnership, and this allows us to identify new projects. And this technical assistance to identify new projects is an important approach for Indonesia GTPI. Also, household waste management system and agricultural waste to energy system are the two major waste to energy projects. And this can actually help improve the quality of life of communities, including Java City and Lampur and Medan, Pekanbaru and Sulawesi and Kalamani. So this can actually be participated by the local residents to raise their awareness and to improve the quality of their life. And also this will improve the power supply rate so that people who are not benefiting from the electrical grid can actually
보급할 수 있는 그런 접근도
benefit from commercial power supply.
녹색 과학기술 분야에 저희 인내 거점스테이 주요
In green science and technology, one of the major areas of cooperation for us is to build a society of resource circulation. That's the first item on the agenda. And also biomass to energy and promoting renewable energy. That's the second item on our agenda. And in the future, we will also promote future-oriented technologies for agriculture, which is climate-smart agricultural technology. Also, we will secure clean energy in Indonesia and monitor and evaluate water pollution in the rivers and streams of Indonesia by incorporating ICT technology. Furthermore, in Indonesia, there are various natural disasters. For example, in January, Sulawesi experienced an earthquake, and therefore we need to help build their capacity to respond to natural disasters. And these 5 items on the agenda are the focus areas for Indonesia GTPI. And these 5 items are areas of cooperation not just for Indonesia but for other Southeast Asian countries as well. Indonesia GTPI is working with Singapore's Nanyang Technological University as well as other Korean and non-Korean institutes in order to promote data sharing with Indonesia. Indonesia GTPI is also strengthening technological consultancy by linking IP rights and building joint ventures, and also linking various financial sources for green climate technology. In Indonesia, there is an ASEAN Secretariat and also Korea-ASEAN Cooperation Mechanism, which is sponsored by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Korea. And we are working with other external institutions to create a strategic partnership so that we can implement innovative R&D as well as technology consultant. In the ASEAN Secretariat, we are working with the Korea-ASEAN Science and Technology Cooperation Body in order to promote the cooperation. This is the governance of GTPI. You see Korea Energy Corporation and Anyang University and BPPT of Indonesia, as well as 50 different centers. Especially we have Environment Technology Center, Energy Technology Center, and Risk Technology Center, among others. And together with Lampung University, we are cooperating as part of this governance.
그동안에 4개의 핵심 기능별 액티비티를 통해서
So we have made various achievements based on the 4 functionalities of Indonesia GTPI. Especially, we developed a municipal solid waste integration system into portable container for waste characteristic analysis. Next year, this tool will be transferred to Indonesia, and this will analyze the properties and characteristics of wastes in the landfills of the different regions in Indonesia, so that we will be able to actually measure the calorific value of RDF, and this will allow us to actually extract data from the wastes. And from the point of view of biomass to energy, we have developed a gasifier, and this gasifier will be transferred to Indonesia in the first half of next year so that torrefaction gasifier can work to improve waste management system in Indonesia. In terms of capacity building, we are working with BPPT and other institutes of Indonesia, and also together with Lampung University, we are fostering talents who are specialized in this domain. In terms of waste sharing, we are working with Anyang University, and
소위 그린테크 비즈니스 관련 뉴스레터를 정기적으로 발송합니다.
We are publishing green technology newsletters regularly, and we also have a guidebook which provides information on the green technology. So we have built the capacity, we have demonstrated technologies on the site, and furthermore, we are promoting RD&D partnership with our partner countries. And to this end, we are focusing on 4 different areas over here. And for 2 of them, we will get official approval next year. And one important thing is we will provide low carbon waste management system for 10 ASEAN countries, and we received the approval by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So we will invest about $8.5 million over the course of the years to work with GGGI, Korea Environment Corporation, and Nanyang Technological University to provide this technology. And also we work with KIST to provide technology on river water pollution management. And together with BBBT, we will provide smart climate agriculture technology roadmap.
인도네시아 고점센터가 지향하고 있는 소위 현장의
Indonesia GTPI is committed to providing customized needs to the local needs and to provide a matching between the different technologies and also to demonstrate these matched technologies, followed by capacity building and also information sharing. Furthermore, we will promote the dependence of Indonesia in waste management by setting performance targets, and we have reached some initial results. Biomass to energy as well as waste to energy are 2 of the main pillars for low carbon waste management system, and biomass to energy uses agricultural byproducts to produce energy with high calorific value, and this will significantly improve the quality of life for the local people, and also this will create new business models for the local community. Also, we use torrefaction technology in order to create the torrefaction facility in Lampung University, and also we apply the torrefaction technology to create pallets that are easy to transport and that have a high energy efficiency. So we have installed the torrefaction technology on the site, and we are doing technology cooperation with Lampung University. To this end, we are working with the Korean businesses to create 30 kilowatt biomass torrefaction gasifier and 20 kilowatt biomass gasifier was also developed by Korean companies, and we actually designed and installed this facility. And the biomass gasifier will be transferred to Indonesia next year for commissioning, and this will allow us to promote low carbon waste management system in Indonesia. Municipal solid waste to energy is another important area of cooperation. So this is about improving the landfills in Indonesia. So we established the landfill management system, and we can apply technology across the life cycle of the landfills in Indonesia. As you can see here, Indonesia does not separate or sort the wastes during collection or disposal. The wastes are simply collected around the collection points, and then they are then mounted. They are all piled up into a mountain of waste in the landfill. So you have some waste mountains that are as high as 100 meters, and forklifts and human beings actually climb up on the mountain to manually sort the wastes. And such poor management of municipal solid waste should be improved to make sure that the household wastes are, well, they would not be able to be sorted as properly as they are in Korea, but at least organic waste would be able to be separated, and these separated wastes can
타는
then
쓰레기와 안 타는 쓰레기
be divided between combustible versus incombustible wastes, so that
랜드필에서는 오히려 더
once they are in the landfills, then you wouldn't need to go through manual mining or manual sorting, and then they would then be crushed so that they can be created into high-grade resources. And this will allow us to generate our RDF, which is a refuse-derived fuel that can provide further energy generation potential for Indonesia.
이와 같은 소위 각각의 연결고리에서의 무엇을 해야 될지에 대한 사업화
And at each point of the process, we have the different business models. And as you see in the red boxes, we are trying to promote this model of segregation and sorting so that the residents can spontaneously sort and separate their wastes. And also, last but not least, we will be able to improve the management of the landfills in Indonesia. So the ones in the red boxes are our major focus areas. As I said, Indonesia GTPI is committed to improving the management of municipal solid waste. So we have a portable equipment for analyzing the properties and characteristics of the wastes. They are currently under the commissioning stage in Korea, and next year they will be transferred to Indonesia so that they would be used in Indonesia. There are 2 containers which drive around the landfill to estimate the calorific value of the wastes in the landfill, and the central government, the municipality, and the local government will then be able to extract data from this platform in order to develop the right policies for waste management. For climate financing based on innovation partnership, we have made some proposals to Korea Asian Cooperation Fund, and we have proposed a virtual cycle for society based on resource circulation. And we have a smart farm localization project funded by the Ministry of Science and ICT's ODA. And we have a climate smart agriculture roadmap that we have proposed. And also we worked with Indonesia to propose the pollution measurement system for rivers and streams. And now I would like to talk about our major accomplishment in bilateral and multilateral cooperation. On June 25, we had a Korea-Indonesia ministerial meeting. And during this time, they talked about the agreement reached during Korea-ASEAN meeting in 2019, where they signed a strategic partnership. And on June 25, they signed the action plan for the strategic partnership. And in this action plan, they included the cooperation with Green Technology Center as well as Indonesia GTPI. And there is an item about funding the Indonesia GTPI for this cooperation. And this means that our work has been actually approved, and also it's garnering support from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as well as other government agencies. And another major accomplishment of Korea-ASEAN multilateral cooperation is that we will establish the municipal solid waste to energy facility in more than 10 ASEAN countries. This will be a 3-year project which begins in the latter half of next year. And at the moment, the budget is set to be about $8 million, but this could be adjusted. And this is a way to improve municipal solid waste to energy program. And this will help the countries address the challenge of resolving the disposed municipal solid waste. And we will provide funding as well as policy support, as well as research and development support through cooperation of various institutions so that we can carry this project based on the proposal. And this is one of the major accomplishments that we have reached through multilateral cooperation. So Indonesia GTPI is engaged in both bilateral and multilateral cooperation so that Korea, Indonesia, as well as ASEAN countries can work together through the efforts of GTPI. And Korea GDPI will stay committed to become a major technology cooperation and consultancy institution. And in terms of the demonstration and commercialization of the project, as well as the business linkage, we will need cooperation with other agencies and institutes. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much, Director Kim. Green Technology Center developed the platform in the name of Green Technology Partner in the Initiative. Thank you very much for covering the various activities. Next, we have a presentation by Research Fellow Yang Li-won of Green Technology Center, who will present under the title of Innovative Financing as a Catalyst for Climate Technology Transfer. Hello everyone, I am Yang Li-won, Senior Research Fellow at Green Technology Center, or GTC. I'm very happy to be here at the Global Korea Convention to talk about how to link different financial mechanisms for expansion of climate technology. I would like to ask for your kind understanding that I am not joining you in person today. Green Technology Center is a climate technology policy research institute under the Ministry of Science and ICT. We are responsible for reinforcing developing countries' climate change response, help them reach their reduction targets, and also to transfer climate technology through various cooperative projects. GTC has been involved in various climate technology cooperation projects for many years, and one of the biggest challenges for us in this project is to connect different financial resources. So today I would like to talk about our experiences of how we connected different financing mechanisms. GTC. So I would like to present to you the projects that GTC introduced through CTCN, or Climate Change Technology Center Climate Change Cooperation Network, which is the operational arm of UNFCCC technology mechanism, or technical or TA projects that we were involved in as part of CTCN Pro Bono program in support of technology mechanisms national designated entity, which is the Ministry of Science and ICT. In the process of any technological innovation, we talk about the so-called valley of death. When a technology is developed, it needs to be demonstrated, commercialized, and then launched on the market. And all of these stages need a lot of cost. Initial technology development through public financing, and also proving commercial value through private financing. So between these steps, you have what's called the valley of death. And this also is witnessed in climate technology cooperation projects based on the demand for climate technology in developing countries. As you can see on the slide, there's this process ranging from project planning, feasibility study, on-site demonstration, all the way to scaling up into a main project. And especially in this last scale-up stage, which needs big financing, you have the valley of death. In order to overcome the valley of death, the Green Technology Center has leveraged various CTCN TA projects. The first example that I would like to present is the district heating system TA project in Beograd city of Serbia. This project was introduced upon the request of the Serbian government in 2019. And this was basically a project about reviewing technological and business viability of incorporating renewable energy in district heating system of Belgrade. And in the process of going through with the project, we were able to identify a big problem in the district heating system, which is that there is a big loss in the use of heat because the users of district heating system are not able to accurately measure the use of the thermal energy. To solve this problem, we installed smart meters in 50 to 100 different households so that we will be able to demonstrate the metering and monitoring technology. So this is something that the Korean institutes and companies are involved in. This example shows how CTC and TA identify specific demand and challenges on the site to carry out demonstration through in order to prove the applicability of the technology. The funding available for this particular phase is not as much as the financial source for a different phase, which was feasibility study or technology demand estimation. So we were able to solve this problem by bringing together the financial sources for ODA in climate technology by the Ministry of Science and ICT. So even if this technology is commercial in Korea, if we want to apply it in a developing country, we need to really review the country and localize it. And therefore, this TA allowed us to use the financing of climate technology ODA of the Ministry of Science and ICT in order to successfully demonstrate and localize the technology. Next, I would like to talk about another example of how we innovated the financial mechanism. First is Sustainable Water Resource Supply Project in Kenya. This was a project between 2017 and 2018. We reviewed water supply technology using solar power and wind power applicable in the arid and semi-arid regions of Kenya in order to propose ways to link different financing mechanisms. The arid and semi-arid areas in Kenya are experiencing lack of public resources, lack of the business model, as well as lack of human and technological capacity for operation and management. To overcome these problems, we invested public resources to distribute the business risks, and we formed a small cluster of businesses and thereby proposing a PPP model where private operators can take part. Currently, Africa Development Bank is working to make this project a main project of GCF. Next, I would like to talk about the saltwater purification project in coastal areas of Bangladesh. This project took place between 2017 and 2018. The coastal areas of Bangladesh were facing difficulties securing drinking water due to the rise in the sea level. So this was a project to review and propose technologies to address this problem. This was a project that GTC carried out in cooperation with the Korea Institute of Civil Engineering and Building Technology and Glory and Tech. Due to the low level of purchase power, they had difficulties in securing the budget for maintenance and management, even if they had the right technology and facility. And therefore, we used the CDM or Clean Development Mechanism to make the business sustainable. Glory and Tech, which has the technology to purify salt water, used funding from KOICA CTS to install the purification facility. And also they registered this as UNFC CCCDM project so that the proceeds from carbon credits that are gained from operating the facility can then be reinvested into managing and maintaining the facility in a virtuous business structure. The last project is Low Carbon Transportation Policy Development TA project in Cambodia. This project was launched because the Cambodian government requested us to develop policies and projects to introduce e-mobility in Cambodia. This was a project that took place in 2020. And in the process, we found out that Cambodia does not have specific policies to expand the e-mobility technology. So we figured that in order to bring the financing mechanisms together, we will need to support their policy development. And the GTC drafted the GCF readiness proposal, which soon will be approved. And we use the readiness paradigm to make sure that we can create an enabling policy environment for expanding e-mobility technology in Cambodia. So that was an introduction of a couple of projects by GTC. And some of the takeaways from these cases is that technology cooperation with developing countries require flexible utilization of various financing mechanisms at different stages of the cooperation. And such flexibility and connection requires the role of public institutes like GTCF. Also, in order to secure financial resources to be used at the demonstration stage, we will see a growing importance of the role by CTC and Liaison Office in Songdo. And Korea has not just GCF, but also the CTC and Liaison Office. So this is an important geographical advantage that we will need to take advantage of in order to provide proactive support and cooperation for developing countries. Last but not least, the most important thing in bringing different financing mechanisms together is the developing countries' capacity to actually accept and implement such resources and projects. If they don't have a mature enough market for the technology, if the risk for the technology or the project is not sufficiently validated, or if there are national risks like political uncertainties in the recipient country, then the cooperation project would never be able to go over the valley of death and will eventually not survive. And a lot of these problems arise from the fact that you plan and proceed with the project without clearly identifying the readiness of the developing countries. By readiness, it means evaluating the level of enabling environment so that the transfer technology can be efficiently, effectively, and sustainably implemented. So bringing together various climate financial resources and making sure that climate technology cooperation projects are sustainable require a careful analysis of the developing countries' readiness. To this end, GTC is conducting related research to develop methodologies for analyzing the readiness of developing countries. I hope that these efforts will allow us to spread and disseminate Korea's promising climate technologies in developing countries and thereby contribute to the global climate action. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for your presentation today. You talked about bringing together various financing mechanisms for climate technology cooperation. With this, we will conclude the session by Green Technology Center. Thank you very much for your participation. And now we only have one session left for today's program. From 5 o'clock, we will begin our last session of the best practices.